Hi, thank you so much for clicking on my channel. I am Catie Brannon. This is Tea Time True Crime with Catie. So tonight's story is an obscure one, which is absolutely tragic because not only it's obscure, you guys, it's also not solved. And it's very horrific to hear about. And yeah, I'm going to put on a nice title page to show my fur babies, to give the good vibes, because this crime, on these crimes, I'm doing it because I want to say that these women are not forgotten. And if you're ready, keep listening. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the title page at Good Vibes. So every podcast that I do, I put basically, you guys, I talk about a product that I love, or, it's not quite sponsored, manifesting, but I want to talk about Jot. You've probably seen it all over social media. It is on Instagram, Facebook, and it is literally concentrated coffee, and it's like $30 something with shipping. But it's like 14, maybe 15 cups of coffee. This little bottle does. It's amazing. I love it. George loves it as well. All I do is get my collagen peptides and I just fill it with hot water, my almond creamer, and then Jot, actually, the first time you order, I think, because the first time I ordered, I got a whole bunch of free stuff. It was pretty dope. But you get like this really cool spoon, which is a tablespoon. And it's like, it's the perfect amount that you just pour in. And then I just, mix it. And I use my little frother, hey man, we pretend we can be baristas. And it's just so, so good. I drank all my coffee right now, about an hour ago. But yeah, usually I do this late at night, but you guys are going to be proud. I am changing up my entire routine. I'm going to start going to bed earlier, start going on more walks, and waking up earlier. So yeah, I think that's totally going to help with mental health, and also, not feeling like I'm just like garbage when I wake up like afternoon, because I'm up till 4 a.m. and 5, but that doesn't matter. But anyway, try Jot. It's really, really good. If I like to splurge randomly, and I like to get this cup of coffee. So the only one I get is just the regular one, but they have different flavors now. They have like caramel, skinny cold brew, but I just go for just the ultra coffee and then my almond creamer, and it is just awesome. So yes, definitely try Jot. Warning, my beautiful people who are listening to this podcast right now, I'm going to be talking about very triggering words. Also, if it is your first time here, welcome. And if it's not, welcome back. You are the bee's knees. I just want to let you know that. You listening to my podcast, it just means the absolute world to me. I just want to let you know. But unfortunately, this is true crime. These are real people, and these are real women who have just ended up murdered. And I'm going to be talking about what exactly happened to a certain amount of people, because a lot of my information, you guys, I got from a documentary. And I recommend the documentary, but I'm telling you, man, it is hard to watch. Not only hard to watch because it's graphic in nature, especially when you see the family that are still hurting from not having answers. It's really hard to find. It's on this app called Philo, Philo. I don't recommend, because right now, I'm between the 7-day trial. I'm going to cancel that, okay? Because it's $25 a month, and they promise all these different shows, which I'm cool. There's a lot of investigation Discovery Channel shows. There is regular television programming, but you guys, it has commercials. I don't know about you, but I'm very spoiled. I don't like commercials. I just don't. So that is going to be canceled. But unfortunately, it's only on Filio, even though I Googled this documentary. It's called The Hunt for the Chicago Strangler. Okay? So I was looking for this documentary and it said it was on Discovery Plus. I was excited because I added that on to Max, which if you go on Max, there is a lot of investigation discovery programs. So I pay extra for the Discovery Plus for more of my research, to add on other than looking at online and Google. I also watch a lot of documentaries. But this one, Filio, I don't recommend because commercials? What? So yes, guys, I watched all of the 3 episodes, and it took a few hours because I had to take a pause and dry my tears. So what I'm going to do is this podcast is basically a few newspaper articles that I found online, but also mainly about this documentary. So buckle in. And at the end, you guys, I'm going to name all the women who have been found. So, yeah. I just want to let people know that, again, guys, this is triggering. I'm going to use some triggering words because by the time I am monetized, this podcast will probably be demonetized. So I'm warning, okay? If you're having a bad mental health day, please watch me another time. I love and care about you. So let's talk about the hunt for the Chicago Strangler. And you guys, it's still going on today. I have white candles behind me. I have crystals. I'm wearing them. But already there is some kind of activity going on. My electronics are acting funny. I couldn't, on the last slide, I couldn't even pause my video to start another one. So let's just take a deep breath. Please know, the beautiful souls, that justice has not been served. I am talking about you to bring awareness. That I am talking about you because I want to bring closure to your families. We're going to talk about what many people is the first woman to lose her life. Angela Ford was a very happy mom. She loved to dance, and she had 2 children, a son and a daughter. She was tragically taken away in 1999. But before she was taken away, she was found clinging to life 2 miles just away from her home. She was sexually assaulted, and this woman fought so hard to be alive. But unfortunately, she was beaten, and she was beaten so bad that she was in a coma. Now, what she was doing that day was she was going to grab her children's report cards. Her children at that age is between 8 years old, 7, around there. So they're not even teenagers yet. The daughter talks a lot in the documentary, and she talks about how their mother would take both of them everywhere. And that particular day, she wanted to go. But the mother, Angela, told her children, "Stay home. I will be right back." Tragically, you guys, she did not come back. There was DNA found on her body, but it did not match anyone. There has been different detectives on this case because this happened in 1999. But with each different detective, each newer detective on the case, according to the family and friends of Angela Ford, they seem to know less about the case. We're going to jump all the way to woman 51st. And if you're wondering, Catie, did you just say 51st? Like 51? Yeah. Yes, I did. There is that many women who have been murdered, strangled, raped, left in a very horrible way where they're either naked or partially nude. Just the indecency of it is just disgusting. Not only you take these women's lives, but you leave them in such a horrible way where 9 times out of 10, they had to have closed caskets where not even their loved ones have got to say goodbye. Rio Renee Holyfield was the 51st woman. Her family member, Ricardo, I will talk a lot about him toward the end of the podcast. But Rio, she died of asphyxiation. They don't exactly know what time of death, but Rio was known to be, according to family members, Whoopi Goldberg from the Sister Act. She was extremely, she would always be the pillar for her family. When something tragic would go down, everyone would go to Rio. And tragically, by the time Rio was found, just, I believe, a couple days before, a horrible shooter just came into a crowd in a neighborhood and just shot the gun once. And tragically, a cousin of Rio was shot and killed. Now, the family is looking for Rio for just to lean on and just need her guidance and faith. But unfortunately, they're looking around trying to mourn their cousin and wondering why this even happened. Rio is nowhere to be found. Police get involved and they realize that, her death is a pattern. And her relative, forgive me guys, there's so many relatives in this documentary. I wrote so many people and relatives. It's so discerning because Rio is the 51st woman, and that is when people are on high alert. I'm sorry, what? As soon as Ricardo found out about his cousin or aunt, it was a relative, it was a loved one who was extremely cared about, he was just mind blown. But Rio tragically was just found in a trash can, like she was just some kind of trash. And according to the family, even the community and relatives, she was not trash. And the way she was discarded was incredibly disgusting. I'm going to talk about more of these women who have just been discarded like trash and to seem to be forgotten. But like I said in the beginning of this podcast, you are not forgotten. Reverend Robin Hood. Now, he has been an activist for Chicago for a very, very long time, and he is trying to find justice for these women. Strangulation is very, very uncommon, you guys, for murder in Chicago, because most homicides, tragically, are handgun related. All of the bodies have been found were outside in vacant lots, trash cans, alleyways, and they have been in working class, low income family communities. I don't ever like to speak of this ugly word, but it is real and it is known. And by me just even investigating these cases for this podcast, racism is what is what the community believes is why these cases are not solved. Now, when I say racism, what I mean is when I say that ugly word is, I'm sorry, just by saying this out loud, it's just so hard to believe the cruelty that someone can just be judged from their skin color, that someone can be redlined, or they could not get a loan from a bank to move away when all these killings and murders have been happening in Chicago since like the 1960s. Martin Luther King actually did the Fair Trading House press conference in Chicago, and he even said, tragically before he was assassinated, that he was in Alabama and Mississippi, which are southern states, and I personally felt would have been the worst kind of hate that was brought to the African American community. It was actually, Martin Luther King said it was Chicago. Chicago was the worst kind of racism that anyone has ever seen. Now, the big thing is that they're not solved, these cases, because there is some lack of resources. Yeah, and this has been talked about, guys, all the way since the 1960s. Am I saying now they're getting better in 2024? That I'm not sure of, but I know that it is becoming, it's coming to light. But I just wanted to let you know that it is real and it did happen. And these poor people have been judged for just the color of their skin is absolutely disgusting. I literally was raised, not trying to make it all about me, okay? But like my family and I were raised, treat people how you want to be treated. So I just don't understand why these communities have the lack of resources. They have the defunding of the police, lack of resources. They have DNA kits that are still on they are still in labs, guys, that are not even being analyzed and checked. So I feel that they have all the DNA evidence, but because of lack of people, lack of resources, it is not getting solved. Ooh, it got really... I don't mean any disrespect, okay? I don't. I'm sorry. Just please let me tell you ladies' stories. Please. Sorry, you guys, like the hair on my skin just my goosebumps just raised. In 2002, Gwendolyn Williams was found dead in an alley. This family is so close-knit that they had a very strong relationship between the brother and the sister. Gwendolyn Williams was in town to help with her sister's, I believe it was like a broken foot. Gwendolyn Williams did not return home, like I said, because she was found dead. She was raped and she was strangled. DNA was found on Gwendolyn Williams, but DNA was not from a known suspect. Now, there was a phone call before Gwendolyn left the house. Before Gwendolyn left the house, she said to her sister, "I'll be back." Now, the sister told the police that my sister, Gwendolyn, received a phone call, and right after that phone call, it seemed very urgent that my sister left. Now, Gwendolyn was not the type to just dip. You know what I'm saying? Because she was there caring for her sister's, I believe, broken foot. Gwendolyn was the sister that would help everybody, would always keep her brother and sister in the loop. Extremely close family. What is extremely frustrating about this case is that when the sister of Gwendolyn went to the police and talked about the phone call, that the phone records were never investigated, and the family wants to know why. In 2003, Nancy Walker, she was an accomplished businesswoman that is talked about and described by family members. She owned a beauty salon. She actually bought properties. She was 55 years old. Her plan was actually to retire with her mother and to go back to Mississippi. Her famous and her favorite catchphrase, which I found out is actually a song, was, quote, "What a difference a day makes," end quote. That was actually the last words to her sister on the telephone. In the beginning, police didn't actually take this disappearance, like they didn't even take it seriously because, Nancy not only was a beautiful woman inside and out, she was 55 years old, and the police figured that, okay, she's gone a weekend, she's probably just gone and had a great time and you'll hear from her. Now, Nancy's sister is like, no, she is not like that. Please, we need to go find her. Now, this is where this is very frustrating. According to the relatives, Laci Peterson, I'm sure we all know about that case. She was missing at the same time Nancy Walker was missing, which was 2003. Now, Laci Peterson, I believe, went missing in California. And if you don't know, Laci was Caucasian, which I know shouldn't matter. But I'm telling you, with the research I have, racism, I feel like, does play in this case. So, Laci was missing at the time, and you're wondering, well, what does this have to do with the case? Laci was on the front page of the Chicago newspaper. And Nancy Walker, who was from Chicago, she was at the end of the newspaper on page 57 when people were notifying Chicago residents of her disappearance and of her being missing. That has got to be so frustrating because I feel like Nancy's sister, her friend who worked in journalism, got her story in the newspaper, but it didn't matter because it was in the back of the newspaper. Tragically, you guys, Nancy was found. She was found dismembered, which is so brutal. She was found in 3 trash bags. One was her head, one was her arms, and one was her legs. To this day, they have never found her torso. They believe that she was strangled from behind. She was the first woman in the Chicago strangle murders to be dismembered. It absolutely devastated her sister and family, and they couldn't bury her properly. They couldn't put her all together to say goodbye. 7 more women were actually strangled that year. 3 more in 2004. 5 more in 2005. It was 2017 when it all kind of came to light, you guys. Some people believe that there is not, like I said, 51 women have been found murdered, all strangled. But people believe that there is not 51 separate killers. November 2007, 21-year-old Teresa Bunn. She was 8 months pregnant. She was found set on fire in a dumpster. 24 hours later, there was another fire in a dumpster. 52-year-old Hazel Lewis. She was a mother of 3 and a grandmother. Both women were strangled. But the investigation, you guys, does not link both murders. Police think Teresa Bunn was a domestic dispute, and they had a suspect at the time, which I will go back to. Oh man, that will infuriate you. I'll talk about that more at the end. So that suspect, guys, was due to insufficient evidence, which again, I will talk about that more, because the documentary, it like jumps back and forth. I believe it does that format, guys, to keep you like in the know. Because some documentaries I do watch, guys, and I tragically have fallen asleep, but this one I did not. I was on alert. I wrote notes. Okay. 100 miles away. Some police officers believe it was actually the fire was not done to destroy the evidence, but was actually due to the attention to the crime. Maybe, guys. Everything is allegedly, by the way. There is nothing set in stone, which is infuriating. But police believe maybe the killer was kind of tired of killing and it got to this person. So they lit the fire in a dumpster to actually, like I said, not destroy evidence, but to be like a beacon in some kind of way, to be like, look, I have murdered again. Please stop me from doing these crimes. Let me know what you guys think below. Again, Chicago Police Department. Again, this has been happening since the 90s. Now it's 2024. Police has been saying since the 90s, tragically, that they are under-resourced and there is just too many homicides in Chicago to keep up with which is what? What? Police believe not, and I honestly, I will say that I do not believe that the whole police department is just racist, horrible people. I believe there are police officers out there that are trying their best, but they are underfunded and they are under-resourced, and there's only so much they can do. There are police officers to this day who cannot sleep at night because they cannot stop thinking about these crimes, and I do believe they are the police officers that have been interviewed for this documentary. Just wanted to say that. In 2017, though, guys, an amazing technology happened. I cut my slides short, so okay, it's telling me to keep on going. Okay. Thomas Hargrove, this guy, Thomas Hargrove developed a program, a technology to actually find serial killings and murders. So when there's a cluster of murders that have similarities, the program actually tells you that there is a serial killer on the loose. There is a chart that actually is developed to solve cases more using an algorithm to put things together. And that's when they figured out about the Chicago 51, which I think is awful. Like, it takes you that long to figure out that these women, that there's a pattern of all these women being raped and strangled and murdered. Velma Howard, 50 years old. She did work on the streets. She was found in 2004. LaFonda Sue Wilson, 43 years old. She was found in 2010. Girls who've walked the streets, who are actually known to work the streets, are known as nobodies, and they're known as high risk. One survivor, Mahogany, she talks about how that she was actually starting to be strangled during a sex act because she was a known sex worker. But what she did was she made her body go limp, her head, her arms, her body. So after the perpetrator was strangling her and she went limp, he proceeded to rape her. She pretended she was dead to survive, and Mahogany did survive. But she did not think to go to the police to help her. In 2014 to 2017, the killings did stop. Police believe now there are 3 active serial killers. They think there's no possible way that one man is killing these 51 women throughout the years. They believe, again, guys, please forgive me. I don't like to talk about ethnicities because, like I said, I believe we all are people. We all are one race. It's such a hard topic to talk about. Why can't we treat people how we want to be treated? Why does it matter for skin colors? Why? I just don't understand it. But police believe there are 3 serial killers on the loose. They believe there is 2 or more African Americans. They did say black. And they do believe there is 1 Caucasian white dude that is also doing the killings as well. What is happening? Why can't I? Okay. One of the women. Oh yeah, this one is definitely gotta pause it because we're on almost at 8 minutes with just this one slide. Please let me pause this, stop recording, so I can keep on going. Okay. There's a lot of energy in here right now, guys. I'm sorry, I'm sending positive energy. Please, women who I'm talking about, please know that I love you. And I really pray that your case will be solved and closure will come to your families. Please don't be angry. Please don't send me any negative energy that I'm doing your stories. Please. I know I'm just a small time creator, but I pray that a bigger creator will look at my podcast and use their platform to spread the word. Please, it only takes a ripple in a river to have a butterfly effect. Okay. Remember that I told you one of the women, you guys? They actually thought they found their suspect. This is going to infuriate you. Oh my God, this made my blood boil. There was a 99% DNA match that was found on one of the women from many years earlier. But because of another case, which I wrote in my notes, talk about an Illinois case. The case goes like this. The case is that there was a woman who was raped and murdered. Now, they did find the DNA from the rape. And they did charge a man for the rape and murder of this woman. But the guy appealed and said that he did have sex with her, but he did not kill her. So they let him go. Yes, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. They let this guy go because there wasn't enough evidence to show that he killed her. But there was enough evidence to show that he had sex with her. Now, this woman may have been a sex worker. Now, what frustrates this family is that when they found a DNA match for this woman, and this suspect was a homeless guy in Florida, because this happened years earlier, they did not extradite him back to Chicago to face what he has done because of lack of evidence. Even though they have DNA evidence that's a 99% match. What that tells me is that the family believes, and it's very offensive to them, is that they're saying that their relative was a prostitute. And that even though this guy's DNA was inside of her, it showed that they had sex. But this guy did not kill her. The state attorney, Kim Foxx, I have to say, is an incredible woman. She came from Chicago, and she says this horrible story of being raped at preteen by two boys, and she believes that there is a connection to these women. She says not because she is African American. I mean, they're not from Africa. They're American. I don't like to say black and white. I just don't. But I guess I have to say it for this podcast. So please do not be offended. I don't mean any disrespect. But Kim Foxx is incredible because as a black woman, less than 1% becomes a state attorney. And she worked very, very hard to become a state attorney. But at the same time, she does not think it's right to prosecute this guy because of that case in Illinois where the guy got off after an appeal. So I want to say to the relatives of the woman that had the DNA match that I can't believe that's not enough evidence, which I feel like DNA is enough. Don't you think, you guys? Isn't that enough to prosecute in a case? But according to Illinois, it's not enough. According to the state attorney, it's not enough. And the police who want to arrest this guy, who have been trying to find this guy, who think it's enough, tragically, they said not every investigation's perfect. So I don't know if they say that someone messed up on the case, because I feel if you have DNA, we can solve the damn case. But we can't. Do you guys understand? I sometimes talk in riddles, so please forgive me. So yeah, just because of that case with a known, apparently, sex worker, that guy got off. But this family member that they found the DNA on, she was not a prostitute. She was not. But apparently they don't have enough evidence to prosecute. What? DNA, you guys, have only been found on, they said, like 18 to 21 women out of the 51. 2017, at that time, it had been 3 years since strangulation stopped. March 3rd, though, 2017, 21-year-old Diamond Turner was partially naked, face down in a trash can. That murder was solved due to her being killed by an ex-boyfriend. 3 months later, Catherine Satterfield Buchanan was 58 years old. January 2018 is finally when the murders hit the press. Yeah, it's finally in the Chicago Tribune where the pattern is talked about. A new investigative team has been hired. In March 2018, Valerie Marie Jackson, she was found strangled. Police don't know the exact profile of the serial killers because what's horrific is they're all different ages, they're different ethnicities, class systems. Some are drug addicts, some prostitutions. So you would think the same pimp? No. There were businesswomen, you guys. There was mothers. There was daughters. There was no discrimination of how these women were killed. 2018 to going to 2019, when Chicago was finally high alert on these murders. It's actually in the press conference talking about the patterns that these women keep disappearing and also showing up dead. Why did it take so long? Why? These murders have been happening since 1999. So the 90s, guys. And finally, in 2000, almost 19, there's a high alert? That's not right. That's disgusting. Yeah, you can say racism is involved. I do believe that has something to do with it. And I do believe that there are lack of sources and lack of funds. And I do believe there is so many homicides in Chicago. It just shouldn't be an excuse. Like, why make so many bodies pile up? People are extremely angry, you guys. Oh my gosh. They are so angry about things not being done sooner. Ricardo, the relative of Rio who I talked about, what he started doing is pretty incredible. He started getting these women's pictures, you guys, and taping them on poles. You got that right. They're taping them on poles. I believe it's either where their bodies was found, like close by, and he did it all around the neighborhoods to wake people up that there is a killer that are killing the women. And these killers are not discriminating. They're killing Latinos, Caucasians, brown, black community. Again, I just don't like labeling that. Again, we are all people. We are all beautiful. We should all be treated the same. We should all have the same resources. It's not fair to judge somebody by the color of their skin. It's really not. It's actually awful. And I cannot imagine what these families have been through. Ricardo, if you ever watch this, you're amazing. And Ricardo was angry because when Kia was killed, he thought it was a random act, which it is, but he thought like he was so angry when he found out that she was the 51st. Not 20, not 30, not 5, 51st. Like, I mean, forgive me, guys. I don't know if that's like how many states we have now in US. I don't even know. I can't even like think clearly. I did develop a profile of the serial killer. This is my personal opinion. I am not a doctor, okay? I don't have a degree in psychology, but I've been studying true crime since I was a little girl, which that says a lot. I know. Now, the profile that I came up with is that this serial killer is well-liked, perhaps handsome, good-looking, hidden in plain sight, very charismatic, pillar of the community in a way, may or may not have children, that I cannot figure out, confident, but he randomly goes into a rage. I do believe this is a male. I do not believe females are not, women are not doing this. Women are not killing women. I really believe this is a male act. Darren Van. Now, Darren Van, he was caught in 2014. He would say that he would take a bus or a train to Illinois, and he claims that he killed like 6 or 7 in Gary, Indiana, and he also went to Illinois to kill others as well. Now, he said that the reason why he would kill, that there would be some kind of a trigger, an eye roll, or something that made him angry, and he would just get into these rages to kill. But the fact remains, that was 2014. It's 2024. And after 2014, the killings did not stop. The case is still open. Protect yourself. If you have any tips, because where these women were found, yes, vacant lots, yes, alleyways, but they were close to busy streets. They were close to other neighborhoods. If you saw something, say something. You can email at cpdtip.com. I will put it in the description below as well. Wow, this podcast has been we should do tea time, guys. I have a cup here that looks like a medicine bottle, and I am drinking elderberry tea. My electronics are acting really funny right now. Like I said, there's a lot of angry souls right now that have not. I can feel them. I just wipe my mouth and I have lipstick all over my hand from crying. Okay, I told you I'd give you the names. I will not tell you whether they are black, white, or Hispanic, because it doesn't matter. Please know that they are missed, and they families and friends and relatives want closure. Angela Ford, Charlotte Day, Winifred Shines, Brenda Coward, Elaine Bonita, Saudia Banks, Margaret Gomez, Antoinette Simmons, Kelly Sarif, Angela Prophet, Pamela Wilson, Bessie Scott, Jody Grissom, Gwendolyn Williams, Lorraine Harris, Deli Jones, Celeste Jackson, Veronica Frazier, Mary Ann Skokowski, Teresa Bunn, Hazel Lewis, Velma Howard, Nancy Walker, Tarika Jones, Linda Green, Rosina Baracchio, Latanya Keeler, Lucette Mary Thomas, Latricia Hall, Ethel Emerson, Genevieve Malice, Diamond Turner, Catherine Setterfield Buchanan, Michelle Davenport, Tamala Edwards, McCalva Williams, Charlene Miller, Latanya Banks, Shannon Williams, Vanessa Brzovovich, Valerie Marie Jackson, Nicole Linnell Ridge, Rio Renee Holyfield, Precious Smith, Denise Torres, Wanda Hall, Yvette Mason, Shaniqua Williams, LaFonda Sue Wilson, Quanda L. Kreider, Laura Dawn Harbin. That is from the Undercover website, and these are the names, and they are more than 50 women who were strangled in Chicago from 2001 through 2019. I just don't understand, like, the cruelty. Like, strangling is so personal. And, a lot of funny things have been happening during this podcast. When I say funny things, where I tried to hit record like 20 times and it wouldn't let me record. So I'm really telling these women that I really care about them, and this is the first time I'm gonna say this. Oh man, if my family is listening and my parents, I know how it feels. I know how it feels to feel helpless. And ladies, I feel attached to you because I know, oh man, to like talk about this publicly. I have never talked about this publicly. It took me a long time to even face what happened to me. And that is why I do this podcast, because I could not be the voice for myself. It's been statute of limitations, so I will never get justice, but I want to help other people get justice. Because I know how it feels to have the unwanted touch and to trust somebody who hurt you. Oh my god, this podcast is so intense. Women who have been murdered. I love you, and I pray that you receive justice. I do have survivor gets killed sometimes. And I do blame myself. Sometimes it took me a long time to heal, which to even talk about or even mention is just really, really hard. But at different times in my life, I have been hurt physically by people who I thought were my friends. But at age 20, I had to fake that everything was okay to survive. So Mahogany, if you ever see this, I understand how you felt that you didn't believe anybody would even believe you, or that you didn't think anybody would help you, because it would just be one word against the other, because I didn't realize that, like, oh my God, oh my God, I just felt like I don't think they're upset with me anymore. I'll admit it, ladies. I was raped as well. But I never had the courage to help myself. And I am blessed to have a partner who helps me heal, who has helped me heal. And even though I couldn't have been the voice for myself, let me be the voice for you. Let me bring closure to your families. Wow, if this was your first time here, that was, you just saw something that I never, ever talk about. Ever. Now, please, I don't use the word victim. I am not. I refuse to be one. I'm a victor. Because I will not let what happened to me define who I am. I won't. I move from it. And that's why I started this podcast a few years ago. Because I want to help. I want to raise awareness. I want to have people have increased education. I don't even know how long this is. This is like the most intense podcast I've ever done. And I've done some intense ones, but this one, man, I promised myself I would not do mass murder again, because my God, the energy was so intense. They wouldn't even let me record. It was wild. You may believe, you may not. But if you're still watching or listening, you believe. Thank you very much for listening or watching. A note is that I had a giveaway a few weeks ago, and I have put in the community who the winners are. I have contacted them on Instagram, even tried to find them on other social media sites, and they have not responded. I do have a P.O. box. I just got one recently. Let me know what you guys want me to do. Do I do the giveaway again? Or do you guys just want me to do another giveaway? I don't know. Oh my God, my chest is so tight. Please know, everyone, you are loved and you are cherished. And remember, You are doing better than you think.